Hey there, my name is Susan Taylor, and I am with Family Source Consultants, surrogacy agency. I have been with them for about 3.5 years now, and I am the director of intake and match operations. So I work with all the new surrogates signing on and helping educate them on the process and what gestational surrogacy is. Then I also oversee our egg donation program and matching and the entire intake aspect of surrogacy. I have also completed 2 gestational surrogacy journeys, my second one being with Family Source. And I'm very, very passionate about third party reproduction. And so today I'm here with my co host, Katie, and she's going to tell you a little bit about herself. And we're going to talk to you about our journeys.
Hey everyone, I am Katie and I am a mom of 3. And I just recently started working with Family Source and I am the marketing manager. So I get to post on social media for everyone to see all of our beautiful surrogates and our egg donors and just what we're all about. I'm so excited to be with Susan as well and to tell our journeys.
Awesome. So, Katie, you just finished your journey, correct? Like this year.
Yes.
Okay.
I finished in August. So I had a sweet little boy. He was a little bit bigger than my own kids. So it was a unique experience, right? To be able to have a child for another couple is it's simply amazing. The process was almost textbook for us. And Family Source was just perfect with helping me out because I came into this journey almost blind. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing at all. Like, what do I do? What's my next step? But seriously, like, they're like, here's your email. This is what you're going to do next. This is what you're going to do. And it was just so amazing. I was like, this is awesome. And just the people that I was matched with, it was just the perfect match. I mean, you go into it almost scared. It's like a blind date, right?
Mm-hmm. I tell people that all the time. I'm like, it's going to be like a blind date. You're going to be like, you're courting, but then they're going to become your best friends in your family. And then
Yes,
it's awesome.
exactly. Yeah, it was a lot of fun meeting them. And even after the birth you think, is this going to fall off? Is our relationship not going to be the same? But it's, we're good friends and keeping in touch. And
Yep.
it's fun to see that little boy grow up in their home. So
Yeah.
yeah.
It's so rewarding. I know when I came to Family Source, I had completed a journey already, but I did an independent journey. And it was great and it was amazing. But it was a lot of work. There was a
Sure.
lot of
Yeah.
things I didn't know. And I went into it like you, like, I have no idea what's happening right now, but I didn't have anybody to guide me along. I joined some Facebook groups and got a little bit of guidance there, and met an attorney in Texas who gave me some more information. But when I was ready for my second journey, I was just like, I still felt like, even though I had completed a journey, like I just didn't know that much,
Yeah.
because I went independent and I felt like the bare minimum of what I needed to really be knowing. And so I applied with different agencies, and Family Source was by far my favorite. It was the communication. And I tell people, I'm like, I know, because I work for Family Source, saying that they're my favorite, it sounds like it's biased, obviously, but
Right.
they
Yeah.
were they were my favorite before I got a job at Family Source, because I loved my journey so much, and I loved the passion that they were putting out into third party reproduction. The fact that how they made matches like you, it was just like the most perfect match. And you could feel like that everybody knew it. Everybody that shared
Yes.
the
Yes.
profile, did the match meeting, like everybody knew this is going to be amazing and we can't wait to watch this journey. And I feel like that now with matching and doing intake. Like, it was, as I'm doing video calls with first time surrogates, I always think, I know exactly who she'd be perfect with. And I love matching for that reason, because you get to know both sides. And then it's so much fun to watch that journey unfold, and those intimate parents become parents, and the surrogate become
Yes. Yes.
um, just changed by that whole experience. So I am with you on needing to be with Family Source and being with an agency that really helps guide the whole way. And that's something that I
Right.
love now, doing intake is helping guide them throughout that process and moving into case management and all of that.
See, I couldn't even imagine going through this whole journey without someone. I mean, just the legal alone, you get a boatload of papers and you're like, I don't know what this means,
I know.
especially for someone like me. My husband can, figure it out in like 2 seconds. I'm like, I don't know, it's nice to have someone that can guide you along, and this is what we have here, this is what this means, you're going to do this. Okay, it's just,
Right.
it's been so easy, going
I
through
know.
that, especially those like tedious details.
This I
Of
know. Well,
journey.
with my first time, I got lucky from meeting an experienced surrogate who was also an attorney. So I definitely had her, although I feel like I probably overutilized her because I didn't have an agency to help at all. And so I probably overutilized her a little bit, but she was great about it. But yeah, it definitely the second time around having and just having that person because it's hard in the beginning when you're all you want to do is just connect with your intended parents and have a baby for them. You just
Right.
want to see them on the end with a baby in their arms. And so going through legal and talking about financial aspects and all of that is hard. And that was something
Yes,
that was
yes.
really, I felt like being independent the first time, having to have those conversations with my intended parents, I felt like it did kind of create a little bit of a barrier there because you're not just getting to relationship build, you're having to discuss like business and
Yes.
that's difficult. And so that was what I loved about being with Family Source is having my case manager be the one to say, I could be like, hey, can you ask this? And
I
so
know.
she would go back and
It's like a
ask
little
me.
secret. You're like, hey, I
Yeah.
didn't want to ask them directly, but if you could do this, that would be great.
Yeah. And she actually, even afterwards, and I was so close to my intended fathers, but it was probably about, I don't know, 9 or 12 months after. And I was like, do you think they're going to want to do another journey? I'm not really sure. I don't know if I want to do another journey, but if I do, I want to do it with them. And I don't want to
Right.
ruin that opportunity by going and matching with other intended parents. But I don't really know how to ask. And my case manager, we stayed in touch and she's like, I'll ask. I'll just say, I'll just check in from Family Source and say, hey, what are your plans? And so I totally took her up on that. I was like,
Yes,
yes,
for sure.
let's
Oh my
do
word.
that.
So are you thinking about doing another journey? Are you
I
done
am
or
not. I am done. I thought
oh,
about it. I've had 6 babies. I'm a mom of four.
okay.
And
Okay,
so
I'll
then I've
give you
had
that.
two surrogacy journeys. And then between Family Source and then of course I'm a licensed midwife also in Texas. And so I definitely have my hands full right now. I have thought about it. It's hard not to because I see all the intended parents
Right.
profiles come through. And I get to talk to them sometimes and you
Mhm.
read their stories and you want to have I mean, when you read a profile, it's like, yes, let me period baby.
Yes, yes. But
It's so
I feel
hard to
like
say
once you've done
no.
it, the first time, you almost get that itch. Like, being in the delivery room and seeing the joy on their faces, you're like, but maybe just one more,
And that's what I tell her too. I'm like, I promise you everything is worth it when you see I really do believe that moment that you watch them see their baby for the first time rivals seeing your own babies for the very
Yes,
first time.
it really
I
does. It
mean,
really
it
does.
does.
Yes.
It's the exact same release of oxytocin
Uh-huh.
and amazement. And I just think it's life changing to see that moment. So yeah, I mean, I would like to tell you I'm done. I think I'm done. I should be done. I've had six
I am done.
babies.
Just keep telling
I'm good.
yourself that over and over.
I
I'm done.
know. I
I'm
have
done.
to. I mean, it's hard because there's definitely, and there, and there's intended parents who just they're so much like you, and you just know that that would be such an amazing connection and
Yes.
friendship and relationship. But definitely think it's time for me to be done. What about you? Are you going to do another one?
I don't know. People keep asking me. I was like, I usually tell them, let's give it a year and let me reevaluate. You're getting your body back, and you're like, do I want to do this again? So this is my fourth pregnancy. I have three kids. So I don't know. I don't
So
know.
per ASRM standards, you really have like 2 more journeys in you.
Right. And I'm still
These
young,
two,
right?
I'm gonna start sending you profiles like, hey Katie,
Don't do
take a
it,
look at
Susan. Don't do it.
them. I'm gonna keep
Yeah,
you
I mean, I know my husband would be on board if we did it again, but
yeah,
I'll have to see. I know that I'll know for sure if the timing is right. You
right.
just kind of have that in the back of your mind. Okay, it's time to go again. So
Yeah,
we'll
I
see,
think so. And you just watch everybody else. We have that awesome surrogate group on Facebook where everybody just gets
Yes,
to connect and have support. And I always tell everybody too, I'm like, it's even more than support, it's friendship. Like you see really
it
real
is.
friendships develop in that group. And
Yes.
I mean, I've met one of my best friends from Family Source, and we went to Nashville last summer together. I
Oh,
mean, we've
fun.
become really close. We spend birthdays together and we talk all the time. And so I definitely have formed other relationships outside of, just even with my intended parents. So
Yes.
Watching them all and do their journeys is it's really hard not to want to do
I
more
know.
journeys.
See, I get to post everybody's pictures, all the bump
Yeah.
photos, and I get to interview surrogates and intended parents, and I'm like, "Oh, well, maybe I could be back on there as, Bump Wednesday, right?" I don't know.
Just
We'll
do like a
see.
throwback and start posting your pictures as a throwback bump
Yes.
Wednesday.
Yeah, should. I should totally do that.
Just live vicariously through your last journey.
I know. Yeah, I'm starting. So yes, was it yesterday? Is yesterday December 2nd? I think it was.
Yeah.
Anyway, was my 1 year transfer date. So those
Oh,
pictures came up and I had to, message my intended mom. I'm like, oh, it's been 1 year. And that was the first transfer failed and the second one took. So it was really sweet to go back to that time and kind of
yeah.
relive that. So,
Yeah, that's my first journey. The first transfer we miscarried at 5 weeks,
oh,
and then the second one was successful. And then with
yes.
my second journey, everything was just perfect. Like everything, I always tell people, I'm like, if a journey could been more like there is no way. I mean, just from the match to the clinic and the lawyers, I mean, just every single aspect of it was quick and easy. And we got pregnant the very first time. And I kind of feel like sometimes my intended fathers have no idea that
Right.
surrogacy, I
Yeah.
think they're just like, this is the most amazing thing ever because they have no idea
Yes.
like the things that can go wrong in a journey because ours just was so good and so easy. So sometimes I wonder if they're like, let's do it a billion more times because this is just like the easiest thing ever. Although I know they're not because they
Right.
don't want to bring
Yes.
more babies.
Exactly. So I traveled my journey through COVID. So that was
Oh, that's
the
right.
added fun element. So we had the transfer in December. Everything was going great. We had plans to get together for a 20-week ultrasound and then COVID right in March. So that was a little bit
Wow.
added. I wouldn't even say it's stressful, but it's, you can't do the things that you're normal, used to doing. So
Right. Yeah, a
yeah.
totally different layer to your journey. So were
Yes.
they able to be at the delivery?
Yes, actually, my doctor didn't even know that more than one person could be in the delivery room.
Mhm.
My case manager called I guess, the labor and delivery manager and said, "Hey, can we have her husband and both intended parents in the delivery room?" And they said, "Sure."
Oh,
So,
awesome.
yeah, whenever I went in, my water broke at home. So it was before my induction date. So that was fun. That was a new experience for me all around. And I drove myself to the hospital. I'm just letting you know this right up front.
Awesome.
But yeah, I called my intended parents. They're 3 hours away, and I said, "Hey, my water broke," and they, threw their kids off to a neighbor's house and came down here and made it maybe an hour and a half before the baby was born. So it was
Oh my
super
god.
quick delivery, but yeah, they made it, and it was so nice to have everybody in the delivery room because
Mhm.
you just never know. We were
Yeah.
wondering the whole time, will we be able to have a normal birth, and who's going to be able to be in there. So
Mhm.
it was awesome.
Yeah, we've definitely seen those concerns with COVID, and it seems so far that we've had some pretty good luck, I feel like, with our surrogates, with between intended parents being able to get into the country with having so many international. I just talked about this yesterday, and I actually talked about it again this morning with one of my teammates about how lucky we've been to have, I mean, really a strong majority of our intended parents having being able to get here, and then a lot of them being able to either be in the room for the actual delivery or being able to be in there immediately after once the baby was born.
Right.
And so, I mean, while I think we've been affected a little bit by COVID, I feel like we've been really lucky as an agency as a whole to be able to keep matching throughout the whole thing, keep doing journeys, keep sending our surrogates for their medical screening and their transfers, and for intended parents to be able to get here
Yes.
without a lot of problems.
Right.
And, but I think that's also, the case managers working overtime trying to make sure
Yes.
that
Yeah.
that happens, and then the OBs, really working with those providers and
Mhm.
midwives and, making sure that they're sending the documentation that we need to be able to get everybody in where they need to be so that they're there for the birth of the baby. So it's been a lot of extra work, I think, for the case management team, but
I'm
they've done
sure
an
it
amazing
has.
job at getting
Yeah.
everybody where they need to be.
Like I can't imagine, just as a case manager, you're having to basically go through the loops to get everything done. Especially now, you're like, this is a whole new territory. Like, what do I
Yeah,
do now? But they do. They get it done every
they
time.
do every
I'm
time. I
I'm just
know.
amazed. Like, these parents coming from China, or getting someone in the United States to, hey, can you take our baby until we can get there, or whatever the
Right.
case may be. Like, there's a lot of strings that have to be pulled, and they're always pulled in the right way, right?
I know. I know. It's been really impressive watching, because I get asked that a lot when, first time surrogates sign on with us and asking about those questions. Like, well, if I chose to work with international intended parents, what's that going to look like? And
Sure.
so that's the thing we always talk about is, I mean, we have made it happen. I can't promise anything, but I can tell you that our case managers work really hard and they've done a really good job getting everybody
Yes, I
over
agree.
here and available for the delivery. So your intended parents were domestic then?
Yeah, they were just slightly south of Chicago. So,
Okay.
and since we're in Indiana, it's just a few hours away. It was, nice to have someone that close. I know I've talked to a few other surrogates that had, quite a travel for, doing all the things,
Right.
going to different fertility clinics and things like that. So we're really lucky just to be this close, to find someone
Yeah.
that close to me. So, yeah.
I know it happens like that every once in a while. My first journey was like that, where everything was local. The intended parents were local. And then my second journey, I actually chose to work with international intended parents. I wanted the first journey was a heterosexual domestic couple that were close by, came to all the appointments. And so the second time I was like, I want something different. I really want to work with a same sex couple. And I think it'd be neat to work with somebody international. Of course, I
Sure.
had no idea then that we would become so close. And now I just miss them like crazy because they're so far. I'm like,
I know.
but now they're so far away, I can't see them as often, especially now because of COVID, we can't see each other at all.
So where were they from?
They're in Spain.
Okay.
Yeah, they're on the coast of Spain, like just south of Barcelona. So um, they're not close at all, but they
No.
came during the pregnancy around 4 months, and we did a sonogram when they came just for fun. And then they came about 2 weeks before the delivery and stayed about 2 weeks after. So we had a good, and I would had the baby 3 days after my due date. So we had a good
Wow.
month to spend together. And one of the dad's parents came, so they were there for the birth too, which was amazing. And we just all got to hang out and get to know each other. And we did a newborn session pictures with them. I have a photographer friend, and so she
Oh,
came and
fun.
took pictures with the guys, and then took pictures with me and the guys, and the grandparents of the baby, and me with the baby. I mean, it was so much fun, and my kids loved it. What about your kids? My kids are older, but I feel like yours are younger than mine.
Okay, so my oldest is 11 and my youngest is 7.
Okay,
But
we're about the same
they
age as my.
yeah, they didn't really have an opinion on it all.
Yeah.
Like, they're just very low key about it. Like, mom is
Mhm.
carrying a baby for someone else. Like, it was just it is what it is, with them.
Yeah.
They didn't get attached, or, my oldest, she was thankful that the baby was not coming home with us. She's like, I do not want another brother, mom.
That is how I had two boys, and so I have three boys, one girl, and that's how my daughter was. Both times she was like, "Oh, you're so cute.
Yeah.
Goodbye."
Yeah,
No,
bye.
no
See
more
you later.
brothers in this house. But I feel the same way. My kids were the same way. They weren't, and mine were a little bit younger when I did my first journey. Because that little boy will be 6 in January,
Mhm.
and so my youngest was 2 at the time, maybe about closer to 3 by the time he was born. Um, and so they all like loved on my tummy, especially my little ones. But when he was born, everybody like looked at him and they got to hold him, and
Yeah.
we took pictures, and then that was it. They didn't, and they always just said who the intended parents. It was almost like my intended parents was one name, it was like their baby.
Right.
And nobody ever, there was no attachment or anything. And by the second one, we just got so tired of saying it was a surrogate, explaining that. So like, somebody, I'd go out to Target and be checking out, and they'd ask, "Oh, is this your first?" "No, it's not." "Oh, what number is this?" I'm like, the 6. They're like, "Oh, wow." Didn't say anything. And I was laughing one day, my intended parents ordered some stuff for the baby and had it delivered here to have for when they came. And one of them was like a cradle, and it was outside of, you could see the what it was on the box. And the UPS guy dropped it off, and my daughter was outside playing, and he's like, "Oh, are you having a baby brother or sister?" And she's like, "Nah, I don't know, brother." She goes, "I didn't want to get into the whole surrogacy
Just
thing."
nonchalant. Nah.
She's just like, "Whatever." I mean, and so that's why I tell people all the time, like, they don't, my kids, they didn't get attached. They didn't, they cared, like they wanted to see the baby. I mean, it's a baby, who doesn't love a squishy little baby? But
Yes.
they weren't, yeah, they weren't attached. They weren't like, why aren't we keeping them? They weren't confused by
Mhm.
it. It was, I think that we overthink sometimes for our kids on what it's going to look like for them. And there are really great books out there that have been written by surrogates and intended parents. And I think
Yes, yeah.
psychologists even have written books. So there's great books about surrogacy, but I didn't even know about them back when I did surrogacy. And my
Yeah,
kids
me
were
either.
great.
We just put out a blog on our website about books for intended parents. I was like, I didn't even know that was such a thing. I knew
Me
there's like
either.
one or two books for surrogates, but who knew, right?
I know. There's all these resources. I had no idea when I did surrogacy that we had all these super awesome resources. Because I totally would have bought my kids those books and read it to them and all that, but I didn't know about it, and they did so great. And I think seeing in our group, I don't really ever see anybody posting that their children are having a hard time, or, we see posts like, how do I prepare my children for this? But by the time they're really in the thick of the pregnancy and the journey and delivery and all of that, all the kids seem to do really well. And I think even the ones that don't seem to be paying attention, I think they are. I think they're seeing
Yeah.
that their mom's doing this really amazing thing for another
Yes.
family.
Yeah.
Even the my 19-year-old would. I like to think he thinks it's so cool that I did
I'm
that.
sure one day he'll talk about it. Like, this is
For sure,
awesome.
possibly. Right now, he's just like, whatever. Why do
Mm,
you keep doing this? And please
sure.
just don't keep them at the house. Like, please make sure that they go home. But yeah, it's interesting to see how. But I guess in general, kids are so resilient and
They
so
are. Yes.
accepting and tolerant and open to new things. So I think for them, it's just another day. Like, all right, my mom's
So
doing this.
did you ever, when you were pregnant and go out to the store and people ask you, just say, it's not mine? And just leave
I
it at that? Did
did.
you ever make any awkward situations for people?
I No, I didn't leave it awkward because everybody always asked more questions. But the first time I was so excited to be a surrogate. So I was like, it's not mine and it's not my husband's. And people were like, what? And then just say, I'm a surrogate. And I explained a lot more the first time, I think, than I did the
Yes,
second time. And by the end of the first journey, even I was like, I'm just so over
I
having this
know.
conversation with strangers.
Usually I get to the end and I was like, thank you. Just thank you. This is my
Yes.
fourth. Because you're
Yeah,
never going to see these people again. So why explain it,
exactly.
you know?
They don't need to know. Well, and then I don't know about you, but the biggest thing that I would get is, "That's so amazing. I could never give up the baby though."
Right?
Like the backhanded compliment, like, "You're so amazing, but not because you're like gonna give up this baby."
Yeah,
And so
people
I
would
was
ask me that all the time. Like, how are you going to give up the baby? I'm like, it's not mine.
that's so mine. I know. I always tease. I'm like, remind me not to put you on my babysitter list because it's not I mean, it's just ultimate babysitting. That's all I'm doing. And
Yes,
so I try to
yeah.
explain, because I think people have this idea of like this Lifetime movie in their head when it comes to
Oh,
surrogacy,
for sure.
like what, I don't we won't even go into details. We'll just say a Lifetime movie in their head. But I always tell people, I'm like, it's not mine. It's not genetically mine. It's,
Yes.
we're doing gestational surrogacy. We're not even doing traditional surrogacy, which is
Mhm.
completely legal and still done in many states. But
Right.
we're doing gestational surrogacy where I'm like, it's literally my uterus is being utilized.
Yes.
That's it. It's their embryo. Um, it's all of their biology legally, or biologically theirs. It's
Yes.
not,
Yeah.
the embryo is not at all connected to my family. They don't, those little boys, I've had two boys, those little boys don't look anything like my children. They
Right.
are probably well behaved way more than my children.
Had
um
like that slight fear of like, what if this baby actually kind of looks like me? And he came out with blonde hair. I was like, it's still not mine. Still not mine.
Definitely not my baby. It's definitely not my baby. And even if it was, goodbye.
Yes. Bye. See
Um,
you later.
yeah. Have a good night. I know. So I told my intended fathers the last time, I was like, okay, so see you guys. I'm gonna go to sleep now on my stomach, not wake up in
Yes.
the middle of the night.
That
And
was that was the greatest thing. People always ask me like, "How are you recovering?" I was like, "Amazing." Like I can
yes.
sleep through the night. Was your recovery easy too?
Oh, so easy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, because I'm a midwife, so I did my 3 days of bed rest because I
Mhm.
feel like you should, I mean, this is what I tell my clients. So I did the same
Sure.
thing for myself where I stayed in bed, which was amazing because I didn't have a newborn to be nursing or
Yes.
changing diapers or anything like that. And then my mom and my mother-in-law helped a lot with my little kids. My husband took a night off of work just to be able to help with the kids in the morning. but yeah, after, I mean, and by the third day I was like, oh my gosh, I want to get out of this bed, because I didn't have a cute little newborn to stare at. So I was like,
Right.
I think I've watched everything on Netflix that I could possibly ever imagine watching. I'm ready to like get up and go do something. But yeah, my recovery was great. And emotionally, I was
Mm.
totally fine.
Yeah, I told everybody, I said, I feel like I'm recovering way better than with my own kids. Of course, you get more sleep, so
Yeah.
you're in the right frame of mind to be able
Yeah.
to do things, you know? So, and my husband was great about like taking care of the kids. And I almost felt guilty. I was like, I can really get up and walk around and do these things. But I was like, I will sit here.
No,
I will
yeah, and
watch
you
a few
should.
shows, just enjoy my quiet time. It was
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah.
Well, and yeah, because you did. I mean, you did gestate and deliver a baby, so you should
Hmm.
take care of yourself
Sure.
afterwards. But it's definitely a quicker recovery, I think. And yeah, definitely, even emotionally, I felt like it was an easier recovery.
Hmm.
Yeah, probably because you're sleeping and you're
Yeah.
hydrating and you're eating, because you're not worrying about a newborn at
Yeah.
home. And I
Yes.
mean, the only difference was when my body still, because biologically your body still thinks there should be a baby. So I did still wake up in the middle of the night a couple of times for the first few
Sure.
nights, like thinking that there should be a baby there. And of course, all the postpartum funness is
Oh,
still there.
so fun.
So much fun. With my second journey is I had the postpartum night sweats, which I never had with any of my own babies, not my,
Wow.
and I was like, oh, so this is what that's like. It's
Only had
so,
that with one of my kids, and I was like,
oh,
"What
really
is this?" Like, you wake up and just, I mean, sweat
drenched.
everywhere. Like, what
Yep.
is happening to me?
I
But
know.
that was just
I
with
know. And
one of my
then,
kids, so I'm thankful that it
yeah.
wasn't with this last one. So,
I know that was definitely the hardest for me. And then I had, the dreaded postpartum hair loss. And I remember posting about on Facebook saying, oh, it's that time, postpartum where you lose chunks of hair when you're washing it. And my intended father commented, he goes, that happens? I was like, yes. And he goes, I'm
yes,
so
that happens.
sorry. It's like,
Yeah, I'm
it
kind
is
of in that
so worth
stage
it.
right now. Like 4 months out, I went and got
Yep.
my hair done. I was like, okay, I think it's good now. Nope. Month
Yep.
later. Why
Yep.
is this all falling out now?
I know. And it's so delayed too. It's not like it's just immediate. It's,
Yes.
you think everything's good and you're back to normal. And then, yeah, 4 months down the line, you're washing your hair and a clump of hair comes out. And yeah, my intended father was like, I didn't realize that happened. I was like, it's totally fine. Your baby is so worth it I
Yes.
would do it all again a million
Yeah.
times. But I mean, my own babies, it happened. It is what it is. It's a part of
Yeah,
postpartum and it'll
it
be
is.
fine. It grows back in. It'll be just fine
Eventually, it grows back in.
eventually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my intended mom, she was worried. I would tell her a few things, about postpartum. She's like, "I'm sorry, it happened with ours." I was like, "I would do it like 1,000 times over. It's really fine.
Yeah.
Like,
It,
I've gone
it
through this three
is.
times already. It's fine."
Yeah.
But it's just amazing to be able to do postpartum without a baby.
I
To say it
agree.
nicely, I mean, it was, you give the baby to the mom, or the
It
dad, or whatever the
is.
case
It
may be.
is.
It was
And
nice.
I personally like postpartum. In fact, one of another midwife that I work with, she's always thinks it's crazy. She's like, it's so funny that you love postpartum so much. But I do, but I love it even more when I don't have a newborn. It's it's so much better. I don't know. I guess I like the newness of knowing that new
Okay,
life
yeah.
just came. And so that's kind of postpartum to me, is just knowing that I just completed a pregnancy and there's new life and it's just
Mhm.
an exciting time. But then I get to sleep. And
Right.
I still get to, and you get to still see all the pictures of the baby, but instead of seeing them like in person, you're seeing them in their parents who have been
Yes.
longing for them, and you're
Yes.
seeing it with them, and the joy and excitement. It's just such another level
Mhm.
for postpartum healing, and that oxytocin release and all of that.
Right.
That like breastfeeding gives you, is that oxytocin
Yes,
release. So
exactly.
seeing those pictures is the same thing, I think, if not even more, because you're also well rested,
Mhm.
like when you're not raising your own little
Right.
tiny
Oh,
squishy
yes, I
newborn.
agree. I agree totally. So, with both your intended parents, was that their first child that you
Yeah,
had?
yeah,
Okay.
with both of them, yeah. And my first intended mother, she had gone through a lot of health issues,
Mhm.
and her own losses to get to, and then we had a loss together. So that baby was like, I mean, that was one of those pregnancies the whole time you're like, oh, please just let this all just go perfectly.
Yes.
Please let everything be. And it was. It was like a textbook pregnancy. The delivery was great, and really hoped for that for her. And then with the
Mhm.
second, yeah, they and then they, their intended father, so
Yeah.
they didn't know what to expect. They were just like,
Right.
okay, great. And everything was like, yeah, right on, good for you.
Uh-huh.
I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, my lining is thick enough to do a transfer. They're like, oh yeah, that's so amazing. And yeah, I have no control over
They'll
that.
just
It was
keep
all just
learning.
my
They'll just
husband.
keep learning about it all.
Yeah. And they just
That is
listen.
awesome.
And yeah, one of them said, he's like, he goes, I have never talked about a woman's period this much in my entire life. And
Oh my
I was
word, that
like,
is so crazy.
it's so true because everything is just focused from the very
Yes,
beginning
it
around
really
that. And it's
is.
like,
You're like, I don't
it's,
like to talk to strangers about all this, but I guess it's
yes.
normal, so it's okay.
I know that's what I said. I promise you, I have never talked about it that much with somebody
Sure.
in my entire life.
Oh yeah.
So I was like, you and I are in the same boat here.
Hmm.
Neither one of us are real comfortable with this conversation, but it was such, it's everything just hinges on that. Like
It
every
does.
month, it's something hinges on that until you finally get pregnant,
Hmm.
and then everybody focuses on your uterus after
Yeah.
that. Again, in a different way.
Right, exactly. You'll never have a private life again.
Never. I know. Everybody thinks like, childbirth, you're like, there is no modesty there. I was like, be a surrogate
uh,
in childbirth. If
yes,
you think there's no, because everybody's in your business from day one and knowing
it's true.
everything. And, but it produces this amazing little human in the end, and it
Mhm.
makes it so worth it.
It does. Yes. There's no words. Like you can't accurately describe your whole journey, especially the childbirth part to anyone. You're like,
Yeah.
you should have just been there. I
Yeah.
can't explain it. It was amazing.
It was. Yeah. That's how I feel too. It's just, I always tell people, I'm like, it's just life changing. I don't
It
know how
is.
else to explain it besides my life changed the day that both of those babies were born.
Mhm.
And we'll just don't look back. There's two little human beings here that created families, and because we helped do that, and that's what I
Right.
think is so amazing about surrogacy and about all the women in our agency who, you know, give their bodies to do this and
Sure.
to help other families that they don't even know,
Right.
just to be able to help have these little miracle babies walking around.
Yes. I didn't realize there were so many people that wanted to become a surrogate until, I got into FSC and got into our group. I was like, wow, there's really a lot of people.
I
There are a lot of
know,
surrogates just like me wanting to help a family. I didn't know.
I
But
know, it's
it's
so
it's just
incredible.
incredible. I love it.
I know, me too. Well, Katie, I guess I'll let you go from here,
Yes.
and
It's been
we'll
fun talking to you
reconnect.
today.
Yeah, you too. We'll reconnect, and we'll just keep talking to our family source family about all their journeys, because so many of
Yes.
them have had, either been an egg donor or used an egg donor or been a surrogate or been an intended parent and had a
Right.
baby, um, throughout from family source. And at this point, we've had almost 1,000 babies born to our
Yes. It's
agency, which is
crazy. There's a lot this month too.
incredible. Yes,
And the
I
month just
know.
started.
I know. It's bananas, and it's incredible, and it's like the most amazing, rewarding job on the face of the earth to get
It
to
is.
watch have surrogates have babies and intended parents become parents and all of that.
Yes.
So
I
it was
agree.
so fun talking to you.
It was. I
Yes, I
enjoyed
will.
it.
Yes, I will talk to you soon.
All right. See you, Susan.
See ya.
Bye.